think of Spain as just one country. After all, it only has one king and only one national football team. But it has 17 different autonomous regions, each with their own tax raising powers. And the tax they like to change the most is succession and gift tax. This tax is the equivalent to UK inheritance tax, and in this video I'm going to discuss ways to help you navigate this tax because it is very complicated, as well as tell you where the best place to live and die in Spain are. So if you're ready, let's go. My name is Gerald Turner. I'm a chartered financial planner based here in Spain. I'm recording this in November 2022, and this is very important to remember because with 17 autonomous regions and one central government, these rules can change quite quickly. This is my current understanding of the situation, but you should do your own research when making a decision to move to Spain. And obviously, nothing in this video should be considered financial advice. It is merely for information purposes only. Where you pay your succession tax is dependent on where your main home is. Where did you spend the last 5 years of life prior to death? In Spain, that is a very important question because many people have second homes. It's quite common for people who live in Madrid to have a house by the coast as well. And in Spain, it is the beneficiaries that pays the taxes. So a Spanish beneficiary will pay succession tax on worldwide assets being received. A non-Spanish beneficiary will only pay succession tax on assets that are situated in Spain. Therefore, it is best to have a lot of wealth outside of Spain, and that money is going to non-Spanish tax residents. In this way, you avoid Spanish succession tax. You have 6 months from the date of death in which to pay the tax, and it quite often doesn't happen that you are able to pay the tax, so fines and interests will be levied. You can, in the first 5 months, apply for an extension of a further 6 months in which to pay, but you will still be subject to interest payments on that late payment. If we turn our attention to the actual rates of succession tax, you can see on this slide that rates go from 7.65% to 34% dependent on the value of assets you are receiving. Some autonomous regions will offer exemptions if the beneficiary is receiving a main home. Also, most autonomous regions will offer some kind of exemption dependent on what type of beneficiary you are. Here you can see on this chart that children under 21 are beneficiaries in Group 1, spouses and other children are in Group 2. And most regions offer their largest exemptions to these groups, but there is a lot of variation between the size of these exemptions, which I will come on to later. Most distant relatives fall into Group 3, with non-relatives into Group 4. As well as exemptions, there are also multipliers. On this chart you will see how these work. They are dependent on which group you're in, 1, 2, 3 or 4. Again, it is better if you are a child of the deceased or their spouse, and also that you are not already wealthy. Because if you are wealthy and not a close relative, it can lead to a significant amount of tax being paid. If, for example, a friend of yours dies and leaves all their wealth to you, say €1 million, with a top standard rate of 34%, and then a multiplier on top of that at 2.4, this results in a whopping tax of 82%, as you can see here. That would be on the part above €800,000 approximately. But this is obviously quite a rare occurrence. Another factor to bear in mind is that these taxes apply on gifts. And what I'm often saying to unmarried couples that are thinking of moving to Spain is that they should get married before they come here and equalise any wealth they have between them whilst they're still in the UK. In this way, you can avoid any gift tax implications of buying property or anything while you're here, and also it has the added benefit of allowing wealth to pass between the two of you as married couples on the death of the first person. This also helps on wealth tax should your total wealth be above 2 million euros. So ideally you want as much as your wealth overseas and your beneficiaries to be living overseas as well in relation to succession tax. But I'm speaking very generally because in a lot of autonomous regions, succession tax for spouses and for children really isn't the problem it used to be. If we look at these charts here from the taxfoundation.org, you can see that Andalusia, Cantabria and Galicia are the best places to die. But with the wind and rain in Cantabria and Galicia, you'll probably feel like you're dead already. So Andalusia in the southern part of Spain is probably the place to look at. 14th place, although 16th place it says here because of there being 3 regions of the País Vasco. In 14th place was Catalonia. So think carefully before buying a £1 million house on the Costa Brava or in Barcelona. In 16th place out of 17 was the Comunidad Valenciana, which is very popular with British people but can mean significant succession tax bills. In 17th place and last place is a part of Spain with the best food and the most amazing countryside and mountains, which is Asturias. I took this photo of a sign in a shop window there, which basically says they're collecting signatures against succession tax. The locals are very aware that they pay the highest rate of succession tax, and as you can imagine, they aren't happy about it. In this chart, you can see that a child on the death of a parent receiving 800,000 euros in wealth, including 200,000 euros of property, would pay 103,000 euros in Asturias. They would pay 63,000 euros in Comunidad Valenciana, 44,000 euros in Catalonia, and 0 in Andalusia, Galicia and Cantabria. None of this deals with UK inheritance tax, which can also be suffered by a UK domicile who is also a Spanish tax resident. Because the two taxes are different, one of them is on the estate and the other is on the beneficiaries, they are not dealt with in the UK-Spain double taxation agreement. And therefore, it is only by convention between the two tax offices that you are allowed to offset one against the other, but this is in no way guaranteed. So in general, my tips when it comes to succession tax are as follows. Pick an autonomous region that has a low tax environment in which to live. Obviously, these taxes can and do change quite regularly, so please bear that in mind. Make sure you leave your money to your nearest and dearest, not to distant relatives, because distant relatives or friends will pay an awful lot in the tax. If you can, leave your money offshore. You no need to leave €500,000 euros in a Spanish bank account when you can invest the money overseas. Also, you can't move your Spanish house, so that will be taxable. And if you can, leave that money that is offshore to people that don't live in Spain, and in that way they won't have to suffer succession tax. That's not to say they won't have to pay any other taxes. As we've seen, when it comes to succession tax, living in the right autonomous region can make a huge difference. But enjoying life and being in the area you want to be is far more important than worrying about the taxes that your beneficiaries will have to pay on death. But if it is a consideration for you, then please bear in mind what we've said here today. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you all well.